Hey folks, I'm here coming to you from an undisclosed location in the Pacific Northwest with an undisclosed Space Needle, so I think you can probably put together where I actually am. So I'm in Seattle for Worldcon, which is the World Science Fiction Convention, and World Science Fiction Convention moves around every year. Last time it was in Seattle was in 1961, so it's been a while. And I just wanted to record my thoughts just briefly about this difference between volunteer-run cons and professional-run cons, because there's been a little bit of discourse about the nature of those cons and the differences between them. So a professional con, which is run for profit, something like Gen Con, has been in Indianapolis for 20 plus years or so, has the benefit of having something which I'll come back to called institutional memory. And it means that hopefully they learn from their mistakes. It's always held in Indianapolis. It's held with a corporation, which presumably has some of the same officers, run by Peter Atkinson, who was originally the one who I think built Gen Con, or I should say bought Gen Con some years ago. So some of these people remember what it is, mistakes that they may have made in the past, and how to avoid making them in the future. Doesn't mean that they're perfect, far from it, but it means at least they understand what their mistakes are, and again, there is this institutional memory that they can pass on to people, even if some of the executives at the top move on. By contrast, volunteer cons, such as Worldcon, which is, as I say, being held in Seattle, has huge turnover from year to year to year. Next year is going to be in LA. They're going to vote on it. The one that's 2 years from now, which will probably end up being Montreal, because I think that's running unopposed. And these are all different volunteer-run cons, and it's an enormous undertaking. Full disclosure, I am the co-track leader of the Craft of Writing track for this year's Seattle Worldcon, so I'm a little bit involved in this. But it's a big, big operation. And volunteer-run cons, because they don't have that institutional memory, therefore can make some of the same mistakes, especially for something like Worldcon, in which we award the Hugo Awards, maybe the top award given every year to fantasy and science fiction authors. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. And so it makes me think a little bit about what the discourse has been, because traditionally people have said Worldcon makes the same mistakes every year. They keep making mistakes. They keep shooting themselves in the foot. And the answer to that is, well, that's likely to happen when you're turning over a lot of the same people, I should say turning over a lot of people, so you have all different people making decisions from year to year to year. What's the solution to this? I don't think it's to make every single con for profit, because again, you may be changing what it actually is for. Not about making profit, but about what actually benefits the field. But that institutional memory thing might be something we could do. Have an organization like SFWA, the Science, Fantasy, and Fantasy Writers Association, be the ones who run a con like this. But I think a little bit less of hammering volunteer cons for being a volunteer, and a little bit more of how can we provide institutional memory so that we don't make the same mistakes would probably be helpful. Just a few thoughts on this pleasant summer evening. I'll catch you again down the line.